Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. You know, one of the most common complaints we have here at our channel is even though we have absolute Department of Justice data, which points out what creates the gun violence problem here in the United States, for whatever reason, the state legislatures never get that memo and they go directly after you, the lawful and responsible gun owners. And one of the big questions I get all the time from people who don't understand the Second Amendment is, how is it that these guns keep getting into the hands of the wrong people? And there are lots of ways that it happens, none of which are addressed by current legislation. But in this case, you're going to hear about an individual who engaged in not one, not two, but hundreds of straw purchases. And we know exactly what became of many of those guns. But once again, this is where the criminal justice system is going to let you, the lawful and responsible gun owner, down. I'll explain what I'm talking about here in just a minute. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about proof that they don't really want to stop gun violence. Okay, and today's video is brought to us by, yeah, right. Okay, so hey, listen, before we get going too far down the road we're going down, I'm proud to announce that this video is being brought to you by, but don't tell anybody, Taylor Freelance. Now, we would love to show you all the cool things that Taylor Freelance is making right here in the United States of America. That's right, because they're based right there in Bellingham, Washington. But here's the deal. If I start showing you all the cool stuff they're making, well, then Google and YouTube, they're going to kind of crap their pants. Let me just say it this way, though. They don't make firearms, got that, Google? But they will make your firearms a lot better. So whether you're looking for base plates, brass back straps, or any other component to make your firearm better fit for your use, well, then you need to go visit my good friends at Taylor Freelance. Now, normally I'd just go ahead and run the little link right down below, but yeah, you see, Google get a little pissed about that too. So instead, that's a link to our partner page right there. You can go there and then you can find the good folks at Taylor Freelance and check out all the cool stuff that they're making, because you know it's cool if YouTube doesn't want it here. Okay, Dateline, December 6th, 33-year-old Dion Cooper, pictured right here, all smiles, was convicted in federal court of one of the largest straw purchasing schemes you will ever hear about in your entire life. The records show that Mr. Cooper purchased between 2021 and 2023 133 firearms, and apparently none of them were for Mr. Cooper. Now, we don't even have to speculate how much Mr. Cooper's actions actually endangered the local community, because we know, because of that 133 firearms that he straw purchased for other people, predominantly for convicted felons and juveniles, 54 of them have already shown up at crime scenes, including crimes such as homicide, drive-by shootings, armed robberies, bank robberies, and assaults. And to add insult to injury, how was Mr. Cooper's scheme finally uncovered? Well, when one of his firearms was used in an attempted carjacking and the woman was able to get away in the Rainier Valley, apparently one of the perpetrators accidentally dropped one of their firearms inside the woman's car. When Seattle police recovered the firearm and ran a trace, it came back to Mr. Cooper, and voila, here we are. Now, one of the firearms that Mr. Cooper purchased and then gave to somebody else has already been traced to, check this out, 1 homicide and 5 other shootings. Oh, and in the criminal complaint and the allegations to which Mr. Cooper has already pled guilty to, apparently a very well-known drug trafficker would drive him around the city so that Mr. Cooper could go and purchase firearms, presumably not only for the drug trafficker, but all of his associates as well. So, why all of you lawful and responsible gun owners, not only in the state of Washington, but nationwide, constantly are getting legislation shoved down your throat as if you're the problem, here's an opportunity for the justice system to put away for a long time someone who is absolutely, positively, and without a doubt contributing to America's violence and gun violence problem. And so I ask all of you, what sentence does Mr. Cooper deserve? Somebody who knowingly went out and purchased 133 firearms and then handed them basically all out to juveniles and felons, 54 of which have already been traced back to crime scenes, including violent crimes and at least 1 homicide. What should the sentence be for somebody like that? Well, his sentence was 3 years. That's right, 3 years. Now, his federal public defender actually asked for just 5 years of probation, and the United States government asked for a little bit more than the 36 months. But no, at the end of the day, the court sentenced him to 36 months, which again explains probably why he's all smiles here, and he doesn't even need to report for federal detention until February. Now, I have been beating on this drum for far too long. In fact, we did this video way back in the day, and you guys can all research it for yourself. But if you look at the United States Department of Justice's own criminal statistics, what you find is that 88.8% of the time when a gun crime is committed, the person who committed the crime was actually unlawfully possessing the firearm at the time the crime was committed. It would seem then that that's about 90% of the problem right there. So one would think that state legislatures would write at least 90% of their statutes to go after that identifiable problematic demographic group. But no. No, instead they're going to go after you. And remember this. Oh, yeah. We may have recovered 54 of those firearms, but that still means that there are 79 firearms, presumably all in the hands of the wrong kind of people out there to endanger the community. Listen, I recognize that there is a violence problem in the United States, and in some instances that is in fact caused by gun violence. But you know what the biggest problem for American safety is right now? It's the lack of accountability coming from the American criminal justice system. Listen, as a defense attorney, I spent most of my career asking courts not to impose harsh sentences. I'm not looking at this necessarily through a defense attorney lens as much as I'm looking at through it as an objective legal lens, also as a member of the community, as a husband, as a father. So I'm asking all of you, when you find a person like Mr. Cooper, one of the individuals who's at the very center of the problem that they are using to try to disarm you, do you believe 36 months in a federal penitentiary is an appropriate sentence for somebody who has absolutely, positively, and without a doubt wreaked numerous incidents of havoc on the local community? But instead of going after people like Mr. Cooper, no. They'd rather regulate how many rounds you get to carry. They'd rather regulate what is most appropriate for you to defend the life of yourself and your loved ones with. And at the same time, they turn a blind eye to people like Dion Cooper and everyone else involved in this with these light sentences that oftentimes the inmate does not even serve the full term of that sentence, only to go back out on the streets and continue with the same illegal activity, which will then be used to justify the next civilian disarmament piece of legislation. Listen, if you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. If you don't, that's okay. That information, it's down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, cool. Click on that link right there and let us know all about it. If all you want to do is subscribe to our monthly newsletter, the ability to do all of that is right down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.